Welcome to Colombia! Welcome, wonderful people all over the world. My name is Frank, I'm Swiss. I came to Colombia in 2015 and I run a tour operator in Bogota, Colombia. Today I'm going to present the one and only, just the best one, Colombia travel guide, and do my extensive trips all around Colombia. I now have some experience overall, and this is why we have a bunch of paper in my hands. Oh, this blog, it's actually a blog, also on a website you can find when you search for in Google Pelecanus Colombia travel guides. The issue is when you just search travel guide, Google hates us, so you have to put Pelecanus, and this is also good for our Google ranking. So you can search it like this if you want to have it extensively in written form, or also you will find down the link in the description area. So let's start right away. Before you come to Colombia, usually you have to fill out a check-mic form, very important. You will find that the first link or the first links are paid ads, so if you click on them you will have to pay. You don't need to pay because it's actually for free, but what happens many times is that the check-mic form doesn't work, nor in Spanish nor in English. Doesn't matter on the browser, on the mobile phone or on desktop, you just cannot send it or have other technical issues. This is common since years, it happens, but most important, don't pay. So when you arrive in Colombia at the airport, very important, you don't need to exchange your money at the money exchange. You will have a bad rate. You have to give your fingerprint and it's annoying. Just go outside. There are ATMs all over Colombia actually, and especially in the big cities, so taking cash with the card is usually the best. Also, when you arrive in Bogota and you're a backpacker and want to take the Transmilenio, the bus, then you can go to the ticket office. This is next to the exit of national flights. If you're gonna take a taxi, don't follow people that approach you and yell taxi, taxi, taxi. Just walk outside. You will see the official taxi lines with the yellow cabs. Very easy, very comfortable. Usually a ride to the city is between 30 and 50,000 pesos, so it's very cheap. Don't get yourself scammed. I didn't hear many scams going around, but always that you know more or less what's the number. So let's start right away, diving deeper into Colombia. I give you some general information. You also, if you're not interested in a topic, down in the description section you will have the table of contents, so you can jump from chapter to chapter. Colombia is very big, and the geographic, it's in South America. It's bordered by Panama, Venezuela, Brazil, Peru and Ecuador. And the land size is 1.141 million square kilometers, so it's very big. It's comparable with Texas and California combined, or also France and Spain combined for Europeans. So you see, it's a very big country. Also about 30% is Amazon region. The coastline is over 3,200 kilometers. This is around 2,000 miles with Pacific and Caribbean Sea. Colombia is actually divided in 6 natural regions. This is the Caribbean, so the north of Colombia. We have the Pacific, this is the west of Colombia, the islands that we find in the Pacific and then in the Atlantic. Then we have the Andean part, which everything is in the mountains, or most of it. Then we have Orinoco, which is the east of Colombia, and we have the Amazon region. So 5 natural regions, 6. So 6 natural regions in Colombia. Colombia is also very known for its huge biodiversity. Colombia is home to over 55,000 species, and approximately 9,000 are endemic. That means you only can find those species here in Colombia. Also, we have a vast system of national parks, Just to mention two, we have Chiribiquete, which is a huge park in the Amazon region. It's not accessible for the public. They do some research there, and you have indigenous tribes living there, but awesome area. Before it was possible to make overflights, that is prohibited by now. So let's see if that will open once in the future for the public. Then we have more national parks. Let me see. They cover 14 million hectares. Those are 35 million acres and approximately 12% of the national territory. Colombia is also full with water, many waterways, rivers and lakes and seas, of course. So let's mention just some. Magdalena River, a very important one, goes through almost the whole country up to the Caribbean. It has 1,540 kilometers and goes from the Andes to the Caribbean Sea, and it was also one of the main transport routes in earlier days when they wanted to reach Bogota. Then we have the Cauca River, also one of the most important rivers of Colombia, 1,350 kilometers. Then we have the Amazon River, which is partly in Colombia because it's starting in Peru, then it goes over to Brazil also, but part of it are also in Colombia. And then we have also one of the top 5 rivers in the world, which is the Orinoco River, which starts in the Amazon, goes up to the Orinoco, also partly on the Venezuelan side, and then goes up into the Caribbean Sea. Then a little bit about the population and the culture. Colombia has over 15 million inhabitants. We have quite different ethnics. We have mestizos. We have about 49% white Colombians like me, 37%. We have the Afro-Colombians with around 10%, and then the indigenous between 3 and 4%. The language is officially Spanish, but you have to consider that there are over 80 indigenous dialects spoken here in Colombia. And when I was up in La Guajira and talking to some Wayu, it turned out that of 10 people, only 2 spoke Spanish. The rest only spoke their own language. Then let's dive a little bit in the history, just briefly. So the pre-Columbian area was civilized by indigenous tribes, including the Muisca, Quimbaya, and Tairona cultures. And this is very important side information because when you will travel around Colombia, you always will find traces and stories of those ancient populations here in Colombia again. And culturally, it's very interesting. Then we had the Spaniards coming to Colombia 1499, and they conquered the whole country until 1819. And of course, they arrived by boat on the Caribbean coast in La Guajira, and then Santa Marta, and then they made all their way down and founded also different cities. This is why we have colonial style buildings as here in La Candelaria in Bogota, the historic part of the city. Development of tourism. This is tremendous, how the development here is in Colombia. When I came here first in 2011, I remember I took a hostel here in La Candelaria, and they told me not going out during the night. So of course I went out to check, but I was back in like 10 minutes. And I don't know, Colombia had like 1 million visitors or less. And in 2023, we are on 5.3 million foreigners visiting Colombia, so the trend is upwards, and it's improving more increasing because Colombia has so much to offer, and I'm sure within the next 10 years we will go over the 10 million mark if everything goes as planned. Then we also have many cultural heritages here, just also recognized by UNESCO. For example, the historic walled city of Cartagena, very impressive, very beautiful, and you have to imagine because they also always attacked this point there, pirates and other people that went to steal the gold. They built defense structures and Cartagena is just beautiful. It's not everything perfect, but at least the constructions are beautiful, and this is why they're recognized by UNESCO. Then also the coffee triangle, it's called the coffee cultural landscape. It's the style of the region with the houses and the coffee plantation. Beautiful area. Whole Colombia is very beautiful, but this is even special beautiful. So the coffee cultural landscape. And then we also have something like San Agustin Archaeological Park. Very good stuff, very well made. I love that place. I'm not too much into archaeology usually, but this and Tierra Adentro, great places to visit. Colombia is also a destination for festivals because Colombia is the country of music and dance. Colombians love to party, and this is why we have so many great festivals. So if you plan coming to Colombia, maybe you should coordinate with some festivals. We have, for example, the most important ones, the Flower Festival in Medellin. Very beautiful, very nice, and I can recommend you visiting that. I think it's usually in August. Then we have the Carnaval in Barranquilla, probably the most known festival in Colombia. They say it's the second biggest carnival after Rio. And then we have the Cali Fair, which is after Christmas, and it's just about dancing and partying and Feria de Cali. I was there, cool stuff. And you have stuff all over the city. Many things are for free. It's really a festival for the public. Really cool. So let's dive into the different regions all over Colombia. And we are going to start in the north. We go north and then all the way south. We start on the Caribbean coast. We got Cartagena, which is probably after Bogota the most important tourist destination here in Colombia. What you can actually see is the historic walled city, as I already explained, the defense structures. Then we also have the Rosario Islands where you can go, where you can experience a cool Caribbean feeling for some beach time. And then we have San Basilio de Palenque, which is a history and story of liberation of the black slaves here in Colombia. Very interesting stuff. And also close is Monpós. This is a small town which was very important on the Magdalena River when the river still was used to transport all the cargo, and it's one of the heritage towns here in Colombia. But Monpós, be aware, it's very hot and humid, so not for everybody. And there are also river cruises going there from Cartagena. Then we go a little bit to the east to Santa Marta, and this is a very interesting place. Santa Marta has a historic core, which is very cozy, but it's not just the best and you can spend a lot of time. But Santa Marta is a great place to stay for different activities in the region. You find, for example, the Sierra Nevada Santa Marta. So this is the highest mountain range, coastal mountain range. It goes from zero, from the beaches, up to 5,600 something meters. And you can do the Lost City Trail, and you have the Minca, you have Palomino, so different stuff you can visit. You can go, of course, to the Tayrona National Park, which is close by. You can visit Taganga if you like, and Ciénaga, which is also one of the heritage towns. So lots to do in the Santa Marta region, and I recommend you to stay in the historic part of Santa Marta, which is very cozy. Then we go further to the east, almost to the border of Venezuela, La Guajira. And in La Guajira, this is Alta Guajira, is mostly desert. You find places like Cabo de la Vela, one of the top kite surfing spots you can find. You can go up to Punta Gallinas, most beautiful place in the world. You have sand dunes and right into the sea. You can run down there. It's amazing. It's a desert adventure, but infrastructure very basic, transportation very basic, food fresh from the sea, everything very basic. Some places without electricity, they have the generators, but beautiful, so beautiful, a real desert. And there's also the neighboring department, Cesar, with the Valle du Par. And this is the center of the vallenato music that is played on the Caribbean coast, all over Colombia, but mostly on the Caribbean coast. Then we already dive into the Andean region, so we're now in the mountains, not anymore on the Caribbean coast. So let's start with Medellin. Not too much to explain about Medellin. To me, not the most interesting city in Colombia, but many people love it because it's the city of eternal spring and it's nice to live, to chill, hang out in coffee, many foreigners, also many problems with the foreigners. Not my favorite city for visiting, but the people are awesome. The people from Medellin, very cool, but yeah, in a different video about Medellin I will tell you more details. So what can you do in Medellin? Actually, most important is Botero Plaza, the square where you find, I think it's 14 statues of Botero. Then you have Comuna 13, the neighborhood that was the most dangerous neighborhood, and now with all the graffiti you can visit, very cool. Then you have Guatapé and El Peñol. This is the reservoir with rock. Santa Fe de Antioquia and Jardín, two heritage towns, beautiful visit. You can go to Jerico, also a heritage town, very cool, very small, not so touristic. And San Carlos, this is a secret tip. This is after Guatapé, and they have, I think, 4 or 5 rivers, and a small town, but beautiful region. There's not much infrastructure, tourism is not developed yet, but very cool place to go. I also have some videos on YouTube of that. Then let's go to the capital, to Bogota, where we are now. We are now on the Calle 10, I think. You walk down, you have the military museum, and then over there the Plaza de Bolivar, the Bolivar Square, and they're having an event and playing music because I wanted to shoot the video over there, but it was so noisy I couldn't, so I came here. And Bogota is by far the most interesting city in Colombia. Everything is here. It's a cultural center, political center, economic center, art center, center of everything. Bogota is such an interesting city. You can do so much stuff. Also around Bogota, so much stuff to do. So let's say, so what are the most important places here? We have La Candelaria, the historic part here, and all the tourist sites are actually here. Monserrate, the house mountain, just right there, from here 15 minutes walking. We have the Gold Museum, very important, you find so much cool stuff. Then Botero Museum, I mean, that museum is just on a different level. I think the value of the art exhibited right exceeds like $1 billion. Then we have outside the Salz Cathedral in Zipaquirá, which is very cool. Then we have Laguna de Guatavita. You should visit the Gold Museum first and then Laguna de Guatavita. And then the Botanical Garden of Bogota, very cool. And then outside Chingaza National Parks with the Páramo, so you have different national parks around Bogota. Worth a visit, very cool, but be aware, here in Bogota, 2,650 meters, you go further up to the mountains and then it will be very cold. You have to bring wind jackets. Then let's go a little north of Bogota to the department of Boyaca, and they're a very important town, also a huge tourist destination for all the people of Bogota. It's called Villa de Leyva, one of the heritage towns. Very, very cool place and good for going there for 2 or 3 days. Also, you can visit Lake Toca, you can visit Monguí and the Páramo de Oseta. They say it's the most beautiful páramo in the world. Ráquira and El Cocuy. Then you can do mountaineering, goes over 5,000 meters above sea level. So let's go further north, Santander. Santander you have to put on your bucket list. There is so much cool stuff you can do in Santander and beautiful stuff. First you have San Gil, that's a small town which is actually the outdoor sports capital of Colombia. River rafting, hiking, climbing, paragliding, potholing, everything. Whatever you want, you find it in San Gil. Then, from San Gil, 45 minutes, you find Barichara, the most beautiful town of Colombia. If you want to see something beautiful and spend some cool days, go over there. Barichara, beautiful. You also can do some hiking, and I developed or reopened a hiking route, also going through Barichara. The Lenguerque trail, also you will find the link down in the description section. Very cool, very cool. Also you find the Chicamocha Canyon, which is the second biggest canyon in the world of the Grand Canyon in the US, so amazing stuff there in Santander. Then you have also some heritage town, one more, El Socorro, that you can visit. Bucaramanga, with probably the best hamburgers in all Colombia. And yeah, also if you're into coffee and stuff, Santander, they have a lot of coffee growing all over the place. Let's go to the coffee triangle. This consists actually mostly to 3 departments. It's Risaralda, Caldas and Quindío. And you have different nevados, mountains that are volcanoes but also glaciers, and you have all the coffee growing between 1,000 and 2,000 meters. Awesome place. So the most famous town is probably Salento. If you go there by your own and you want to organize stuff on site, Salento is great because it's so touristy, very easy to get services in whatever local operator. You can, on the main square, jump on a wheelie jeep and then drive into the Cocora Valley, do some hiking by yourself. Everything very chilled, very relaxed, nothing to worry about. Then we have Manizales, the capital of Caldas, which is also a very interesting city. We have Pereira and Armenia, like all the capitals. You can visit, do some cultural stuff. I mostly like Manizales. It's also the highest one. It's like climate like Bogota, also the altitude. And close to Manizales, you find Salamina. This is one of my favorite heritage towns in Colombia. But it's like 2 hours driving turns. So if you're having a weak stomach, maybe not the best destination for you. Then we also have Finlandia in Quindío, which is a beautiful town. I prefer Finlandia over Salento because it's more local, more authentic. For hiking and mountaineering, you have the Nevado del Ruiz, Nevado del Tolima, and Valle del Cocora. So different stuff. If you're outdoor and you love that stuff, that's the region for you. So let's go to the Pacific region, which is mostly department of Chocó and Valle. So let's start in Cali. Cali, by far one of my favorite cities all over Colombia, very close to the Pacific. That means great food. It's the salsa capital of the world. You have San Antonio neighborhood, a historic part, very cozy, very nice. It's not so touristy, still not yet. That will come. I think Cali, huge potential that will come in the upcoming years. A very nice zoo they have, Cristo Rey statue where you can walk up to, and different museums. So Cali really has a very good groove. Then let's go to the Chocó, also great for whale watching, nature, because the whole Pacific region, it's just jungle, and you have towns, and it's so much nature, so wild, awesome. Bayo Solano and Nuquí, great for whale watching. You can fly there from Medellin very easily, but be aware flights can get cancelled because it's very wet and sometimes hard rain. Do not allow to land or start. We have the Utria National Park that you also can visit from both those towns, which is actually in the middle. Now we go to the southern region of Colombia. We have Popayán and the region, and this is the department of Cauca. Popayán is beautiful. It's called the White City, and I usually explain it like it's like Cartagena, but much cozier and with comfortable climate. Because it's just perfect to walk around. It's beautiful, and I like a lot Bobayan. The only downside is there are not that many good hotels. Holy Week is very important. It's a welfare destination, very Catholic. So the Holy Week is very important with processions and events. Then Silvia is really cool. They always have indigenous markets on Tuesdays, and it's beautiful, very locally, and very nice history. We also have a special video about that. Then you can go to Puracé National Park. You can see the condor and also do some hiking. The hikings are not always open because you also have volcano. So if you want to do volcano hiking and stuff, you have to check in advance if those routes are open. And of course you also, what I already mentioned, Tierra Adentro, which you have the catacombs, really cool archaeological stuff. We go now to the department of Huila, which is one of the most important coffee producers in Colombia actually. You also will find the San Agustin Archaeological Park over there, the Tatacoa Desert, which is actually a dry forest and not a real desert, but it's perfect for stargazing. They also have an observatorio. Then there's Neiva, Magdalena River. So this is what you can find in Huila. Then let's go to the absolute south of Colombia, to the department of Narino. This is really like a secret because it's not so touristy. I already sent people there. I traveled there several times. Narino is awesome, very interesting culture, and you have the mountain area, and then you go to the Pacific, and you have Tumaco, and Tumaco is where they used to start with the submarines. Maybe you saw that in the news, US Navy getting out submarines from Colombia, something like that. So, but this Tumaco is so great. It's so nice and so cool people and beautiful stuff with nature and stuff. It's still a little bit, it's coming, it's getting better, but it still needs some time to develop. Also, the capital, Pasto, is very interesting because for the local culture, you find the most impressive cathedral in Ipiales, like 90 minutes, I think 90 minutes or 2 hours from Pasto, Las Lajas, beautiful stuff. And you have the Laguna de la Cocha, and then different volcanoes actually you can visit. Now we go to the Amazonas region. It's one of the biggest regions in Colombia with about 30%. So what to see? The main tourist destination is the department Amazonas. I traveled there extensively. You find Leticia as the capital where you arrive with the airplanes. And then you can go to Puerto Narino, which is very nice, or you can visit one of the lodges. And you have, of course, the Amazon experience with the pink dolphins and the monkeys and all this stuff, really cool. Putumayo is more transition zone between mountains and Andean. It's also, in terms of region, very interesting and very biodiverse, and you find lots of monkeys and nature, and you find the waterfall Fin del Mundo, the end of the world. Also, we have a video about that, and really beautiful nature destination. I just was in the department Guajira, so we will publish some videos about that with those beautiful rock paintings of those indigenous. You also can do the pink river dolphin experience, and you have something like Caño Cristales, the colored rivers, and a very interesting, not very touristy destination, not yet, but beautiful stuff. Then Caquetá. Caquetá is very similar to Putumayo, transition zone from mountains to Amazon region, and it's just nature. We don't have so many offers so far. I didn't send so many clients to those regions. They're still in development, need some time to get the services improved, and but in terms of potential for nature tourism, awesome. There is already some cool stuff, but there can be more. Then we have Huaupés. I haven't been to Huaupés so far. And also Guanía. I haven't been to Guanía. There is a destination called Mavicure. You should Google it, check the pictures. I plan to go there in some time. Must be spectacular. Also transition zone into the Amazon region. Then let's talk about the Eastern Plains. One of my favorite destinations is the cowboy land of Colombia. It's vast nature, but you also have cattle breeding, and you can imagine you have the cowboys with the cattle and wild horses, and besides you have the capybaras, you have anacondas, you have jaguars, pumas, and everything is mixed like together. Awesome, awesome, it's so cool. So you have the departments Meta, Casanare, Arauca, Vichada, and Norte de Santander. Those departments are called Los Llanos, and it goes into Venezuela. Actually, it's a huge region. And what you can do, Caño Cristales, you can go. This is the colored river, which is, I think, between July and September. Then, of course, you can go to Villavicencio. We also will publish a video of that, do some stuff. Then we have Yopal, the capital of Casanare. Very good base point to jump out to the hatos, to do the Llano safari and have some experience with horse riding and all the animals. Really, really cool. So if you go to that region, the best is to stay on a hato, go horse riding. They have tractors, they do bird watching, like everything about cowboys and nature and safari. Really cool, really beautiful, also perfect with kids. Then we have the last region, the Colombian islands. So as already mentioned, we have the Atlantic and the Pacific. So let's say we go on island. That's actually a natural park, but it's currently closed. They had something, disease or something, bad stuff. But it was very famous for diving tourism. At the moment, there's not much. It's not accessible. Then we have Malpelo Island. That's about 35 hours by boat. This is like the place to dive with hammerhead sharks. They have schools of 50 to 500, something like that. I read about that, saw pictures. I'm not a diver, so I have not been there. But if you're a diver, Malpelo might be something for you. Then let's go to the Caribbean. We have San Andres, Providencia, and Santa Catalina. Those islands are actually far away from Colombia, but they're Colombian territory. San Andres is very all-inclusive tourism, and I mean the sea is beautiful, but I wouldn't qualify it as a quality destination. Providencia, compared to that, it's like 20 minutes by plane from San Andres. Most beautiful island in the world. It was destroyed during the hurricane, and then the government said they will rebuild it, and since then I don't know. I haven't been able to go. I still do not recommend people going there because I don't know the status, and from my experience how things are going in Colombia, I'm not sure if they're ready yet. I'm still waiting for an invite that I can check it out from the tourism authorities, but they still refuse to organize a trip. Then we have islands closer, so we have the islands close to Cartagena, Rosario Islands, great for some Caribbean holidays. And I find even better, a little bit further from Cartagena to the south, the Archipelago de San Bernardo. Hey Colombia traveler! Do not miss out on the great additional information we always provide below in the description sections of all our videos. Now back to the video. Right away with playing golf in Colombia. This is just crazy. We have 50 golf courses in Colombia. Most of them are private country clubs, and they're amazing. Sometimes they have 200, 300, 400 employees. And as a normal player, you don't have access, but I have access to it. So if you plan playing golf in Colombia, if you're a golfer, you should try it out. You can play in Bogota, in Cali, in the Coffee Triangle, Medellin, Santander, and Cartagena. I'm sure that will be one of your most exciting golf holidays ever here in Colombia. If you're more into culture and museums, we have so many museums, especially here in Bogota. We have a separate block about museums here in Colombia. I think we have over 150 museums in that blog describing them. The most important ones here in Bogota: Gold Museum, Botero Museum, and if you're into art and culture and history, Bogota, downtown, that's your destination. So many museums to visit. Most of them are also for free or just cost only a little money. So let's talk about adventurous activities here. Colombia, so what you can do is not just hiking or mountaineering, so because the region is so diverse and we have zero level, sea level, and go up to 5,700 meters above sea level, there's almost everything you can do. So hiking, climbing, mountaineering, volcano visiting, and the best hikes I would say you can find so far. Lost City Trek, it's 4, 5 or 6 days, but 4 days is actually good. Then the Cocora Valley where you can walk, Los Nevados in the Coffee Triangle, and of course the Lenguerque Trail that you can do with me, which is in Santander. You're covering different towns. All my clients that did it so far, they were so impressed. They had so much fun. It's a little tough, some hiking, but you will get rewarded with great experience and great towns. So let's talk about nightlife in Colombia. I just have to say, nightlife is big, very big. So many people are always talking about Medellin, Medellin, Medellin. I tell you, forget about Medellin. When you want to have the crazy good nightlife with everything to offer, Bogota is your town. First, you don't have or very little foreigners, so you will be received very well. You have all different kinds of styles. You have so many clubs. Bogota has it all. And best nightlife by far is in Bogota. Then I would say Cartagena. It has a very vibrant nightlife. It's more than the Caribbean style, everything open. It's more than tourist nightlife, not too much local nightlife. Then, of course, Medellin, one of the big cities, also okay nightlife. But be aware, because of so many tourists and not so good tourists in Medellin, the behavior of the local population towards foreigners is not as nice as it used to be because of several issues that came with this kind of tourism. Also, one of the best hotspots for nightlife, but that's more about dancing and not just go out and get drunk, is Cali, because people there, they also drink, but not as much as in other parts, and they mostly dance. And Cali, to me, it's awesome. If you're planning to visit Colombia and you would like to visit historical heritage towns, then there's actually a list of 17 heritage towns of Colombia. You also can check out our separate blog about them, and you do nothing wrong visiting them. You find them all over Colombia. Just Google them, check them out, and you will find great towns to visit. Also, something very important to know, in Colombia we have the 7 wonders of Colombia. Also, if you want to visit some exciting stuff, some very interesting stuff in Colombia, search for the 7 wonders of Colombia. We also have them in our blog, and then you have other destinations that you can include in your planning. So the 7 wonders are the Salz Cathedral, the Las Lajas, San Agustin Archaeological Park, then we have Cartagena with the fortification, we have the Lost City, we have Tierra Adentro, and we have the Teatro Colón, which is right down there. How can you get to Colombia? It's actually very easy. Colombia is very good connected internationally by air. Bogota, most people arrive to Bogota, but also we have international airports in Cartagena, Barranquilla, I think Santa Marta, even Riohacha has international flights. We have Pereira probably, and then we have Cali. So those airports don't have huge numbers of international flights, but some. But Bogota is very well connected. Also by boat you can arrive. As I said, we had Pacific and Atlantic, and also by river through the Amazon River from Manaure, Brazil, and Iquitos in Peru. You can arrive actually to Colombia. What are the entry requirements to come to Colombia? For most countries, it's not much. You just, upon arrival, you will get a stamp in your passport, valid for 90 days. You can prolong it for 90 more days, so in total you can stay 180 days per calendar year in the country. There's the checkmate form I explained in the beginning. Sometimes, many times it doesn't work to fill out, but try. And don't pay. Don't pay for the checkmate form. Some countries, they need a visa, then you have to apply, and we tried it with clients. It's a hassle, and it's not working probably. So if you need a visa, you can try. It will cost you a lot of money, but no guarantee that you will get the tourist visa. Also, they might ask you for a return ticket, that they see you have a ticket out. Yeah, not makes no sense, but this is how it is. You can get return tickets in some way that you can show something at least. Getting around Colombia, most places are connected with airports, so because of the three Andean mountain ranges going from north to south, flying is cheap, it's fast. Also, there's a huge bus network. You have the comfortable buses, but as soon you take the buses, it takes so much time. So if you don't have too much time, fly from destination to destination. It's very easy. So the airlines, they have good fleets. Fly. It's the easiest and cheapest probably here in Colombia. On sites, when you want to drive around by yourself here in Colombia, I actually don't recommend driving for foreigners. I drive all the time. You can do it, but because of the driving culture, I do not recommend it. Also, people told me that renting a car is quite expensive compared to other countries. Taxis are very cheap, transportation service is available. I take here in the city in Bogota, I take Transmilenio because I don't have to move around during peak hours. I take colectivos. So public transportation, if you're used to and not scared of using them, it's very easy. And as I said, taxi, very cheap, or use your private transportation service. Driving makes for most people no sense. Also within the cities, you have called pico y placa. That means with the number plate you can drive one day, then not, one day yes, one day not. And it's not worth the stress. Also in cities like Bogota and Cartagena and Medellin, you now have those bike rentals where with your phone can check out some bikes, and you have bike routes, so it's very easy to get around. Accommodations in Colombia, we're improving. Top luxury is still only available in Cartagena and Bogota, but we have many cools and boutique hotels all over Colombia. Hostels, I think Colombia is probably the country with most hostel density in the world. So everywhere you find something to stay. Sometimes you need to do a little bit research. Also, internet coverage is not always that good. Also, booking online, that does not work. So it's some stuff is tricky sometimes with accommodation. But if you research a little bit, there is really cool stuff around that you can experience. Safety in Colombia. I live here since 2015. I look like a gringo. I'm taller than anybody with the blue eyes. I never had a single issue. I don't bling with watches or the newest iPhone or whatever. Just behave normal. Don't walk into neighborhoods you're not familiar with. Don't get in fights with people. Colombians are Latinos. They can become a little bit emotional. So don't provocate. Behave good and just behave normal. Take the precautions. You're coming to Latin America. It's not as dangerous as it used to be. There is pickpocketing. There are robberies that can happen. I never had a single issue. Yeah, one of my clients, they've got their backpack stolen in the bus. That's it. Nothing happened so far. So I think Colombia is not the most dangerous country in the world, but it's also not Switzerland. Just take your precautions and you will be fine, most likely. Then a little health advice for Colombia. We also have a separate blog about that. Make sure you're vaccinated with yellow fever, for example, because we have mosquitoes and yellow fever all over the country. We have actually everything because we're so biodiverse. We have yellow, we have dengue, we have, I don't know, whatever you want. Just make sure you get not stung by mosquitoes, use long sleeves, use repellent, and then you will be good. Also be careful when you come here to Colombia as a sex tourist, or it just happens that you're going to have to protect yourself. We are developing countries and the rate of diseases is higher than in other countries. Just protect yourself, be smart, don't be stupid, and you'll be fine. If you need medical assistance, medical system is actually quite good. The best hospitals here in Colombia can compete on an international level. If you have health insurance, you need to know with whom they work in Colombia. So maybe if you want to be on the safe side, contact them and ask them, in case something happens in Colombia, what hospitals do we have an agreement with, where can I go to get treatment? Language and culture here in Colombia. Everybody speaks Spanish, people speak very little English. Make an effort, try to at least have some basic sentences like una cerveza por favor, a beer please. People will be very happy if you just try. They will also be very patient and help you. People are here very polite, they greet, they give handshakes. If they know you a little better, give you a kiss, one kiss on the cheek. If you have appointments and stuff, people are usually late because people are not punctual. Time is something a very different concept here than in Switzerland. And don't get too much into debates and conflicts. It's not the culture for debating, totally not. So yeah, don't try to make your point for any price. It might turn out not so good. What is the best time of year to travel to Colombia? You can travel to Colombia all year round because we are very close to the geographic equator. That means temperature is always the same. Here in Bogota we have between 10 and 15 degrees Celsius year round, and we have the difference is we have rain and dry season. But this is also, you know, sometimes you have the weather phenomenon El Niño y La Niña, and sometimes it's nice, sometimes not. Anyway, if you travel to the cities, it doesn't matter what months of the year you come to. We had in January, we had 1 month's blue sky in Bogota, that was awesome, but also it can rain, it can be dry. Just be prepared. For the cities, I think it doesn't matter. So some destinations have a difference. We also have a blog about weather and climate. You can search Pelecanus weather and climate, or also the blog here is in the link is in the description section. So that's it for the Colombia travel guide. I hope I missed nothing out. You can write your comments down in the description section if you do not agree, or you have some additional points, or you have a question. I try to respond, and I hope to see you soon here on my channel again, or even better, here in Colombia. All the best, it's Colombia Frank. Take care, bye bye.